First up with Kane Cornes, thanks to Sportsbet, I'm Sarah, Olle and Kane. Hallelujah, we've made it through to the end of the home and away season. And that means for the first time since joining the league in 2011, the Gold Coast Suns are through to September action.
The longest season in history is over, but congratulations to them. Here's some of their highlights. They blew this game open in the first quarter, and there was relief that they had done it after a slightly nervous week off the back of the loss to Port Adelaide, which cost them a top four spot. Let's be honest about that. So their chances of winning the premiership, I think, are gone. But if you had have said to them at the start of the year that you'd be finishing in 7th position at the end of the season, you get to play your first final, I think everyone would have taken that. And they'll fancy their chance. I don't think they will go to Perth and win over there, but what they did tonight was exactly what the doctor ordered, and they're in good shape. Ben King kicked 7. He made the All-Australian squad. They had 5 players in that team. Their midfield got back to doing what they can do, and Humphrey and Rioli back in the side made a huge difference.
Let's have a look at those elimination finals. And now that they are shaping up in the absence of the Western Bulldogs, that has been confirmed. It's the Giants hosting Hawthorn and then the Dockers hosting Gold Coast. It has been such an even season, Kane, and you mentioned there you don't think the Gold Coast Suns have the mettle to go all the way. But if one of those 4 sides was to make the grand final, who would you be hitching your wagon to?
Probably Hawthorn for me. Hawthorn of the Giants. The Giants' best footy, and they've played that in quarters, has been as good as anyone's. I remember a few weeks ago they played against Sydney in the third quarter. They just kicked 9 goals. They were kicking them from everywhere, and their best stuff is really good. But they concede too many entries to me, and they concede too many scores. And with the personnel, Buckley and Hogan out of the side, whether Hogan comes back or not, he's not going to be at 100%. I just think that's a stretch for them. But Hawthorn are in good shape. Even their losses Friday night against Adelaide and in Brisbane the other night, they were really strong. Their back six is rock solid. Their forward six is dangerous. Their Will Day short. Their midfield of Warple and Ward and and Nash is probably not going to get it done against the best, but I think Hawthorn of the teams outside the top 4 are the best chance to win it.
Let's have a look at the sides that did finish within the top 4, because these are 2 mouth-watering qualifying finals. Adelaide Oval is where we go on Thursday night for the Crows and the Pies, and then it's to the MCG on Friday. The Cats hosting the Lions. I mean, I feel like there's going to be plenty on the line when the Crows do host the Pies, just given the events of only 2 weeks ago. Jordan De Goey is a player for Collingwood who's only featured 9 times this season, Kane, but he reminded us against the D's that when he's up and going at his best, he is a player that can be a real wild card come September.
No doubt. So for them to win it, this guy's going to have to do this again, and he's going to have to do it 3 times. Nick Dacos, you can't ask for much more. He's going to give you what he's going to give you. But this is the point of difference. And he has to stand up, Jordan De Goey. He's been a moments player, and he's had some good moments in his career, but he's never been able to do it consistently. He's never really been able to string 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row together. That's why he's never been an All-Australian, even though he's got that talent. Are they confident that his body is going to get through? Well, the first final win gives them another week off and the ability to manage them. So those, not just him, but the other 30 pluses as well. So this is vital. Just chuck everything you've absolutely got at Adelaide in front of 53,000 ferocious fans. It's going to be hostile. We know that. But if Collingwood can somehow manage to get over that hurdle, then the week off, I think, affects them more than any other team and puts them in a good position. Having said that, I think Adelaide at home will be too strong.
And then you've got Geelong and Brisbane, 2 contrasting sides, because the Cats have a clean bill of health, essentially, and they're coming up against a side that's battled a lot of adversity this year. The Lions, though, have won the last 3 occasions against the Cats. Cam Rayner, for mine, Kane, is a player who I'm finding simply irresistible at the moment. He was massive last year in September. And I feel like Jordan De Goey, he's a player that can really be a difference maker.
Yeah, so these are the types of players that stand up in finals. Not often the big tall forwards get you in finals, but it's these really strong, contested, tackle-breaking players that can go forward in the front half and really hurt you. And when that game was on the line and that goal really sealed it for Brisbane, he was the one. So quite early, and that's what you get with Cam Rayner. You can have quarters where he has 1 possession, or you look at half-time and he's had 4 touches, but then he's been able to really flick a switch in games this year and can really blow you away, as can the others at the Lions. I think the premiership goes through the winner of Geelong and Brisbane. That's why I think the winner of that game on Friday night is clearly going to be the premiership favourite, and I think they'll be hard to beat. So Lockie Neal and Berry come back into the side for Brisbane. They'll be waiting for Lockie Neal. There'll be a tag on him. There'll be a tag on McCluggage, and Geelong have flown under the radar nicely. But they're the best two teams in it, Geelong and Brisbane, and the winner is in the box seat.
Time now for the temperature test, thanks to Sportsbet. And Kane, this is taking on a bit of a different flavour this week because we're looking at the eliminated sides and how you think they're poised at the end of this season.
Well, no one's running hot, are they? So there it is. There's a few that are simmering, and there's the three there. So we'll start with the Western Bulldogs, 5 players in the All-Australian squad. They're absolutely stacked, as I've spoken about a lot. So I think they can win it next year. That's how good their list is. Now, they've just got to get a defensive profile that is able to stack up so that they don't concede consecutive goals in a row and they don't concede big scores. Offensively, they're a powerhouse. We know that. Highest scoring team in the league, best midfield, percentage of 140. Just couldn't get it done in that last game against Fremantle. But they'd be feeling pretty confident that if there's 1 or 2 additions to the back six, that they're as good a shot as anyone that didn't play finals to win the whole thing next year.
What about the Swans? So disappointing to make a grand final last year and miss out on finals altogether. There's a player who's a previous pick for by the name of Logan McDonald who was unsighted, Kane, and you think he needs a massive preseason.
Yeah, I said this a few weeks ago, but pick up the phone and speak to Riley Thilthorpe and work out what Riley did to completely transform his body to come back the absolute beast that he is. Now, this guy is of a similar age, similar draft pick, similar size and build, not quite as tall as Riley Thilthorpe, obviously, but he needs to put on, I think, 4 or 5 kilos, really get lean, work extremely hard in the gym, and get back and be the power forward that they want. We're talking about Curnow, we're talking about getting players from the other clubs, but what if they've already got him on their list, and it could be that guy, but for that to happen, he needs a gigantic summer.
The exit meetings have begun at Icon Park. Tom de Koning, Jack Silvani will find new homes. Do you think Sam Walsh should also exit?
Well, I think they need to do something because right now this list is not going to get it done and they don't have their draft pick. They'll get what they get for de Koning. I understand that, but is a pick 9-ish in the draft going to come in and make a big difference? So where are they at? That's what they need to work out. Are we in it to compete next year under Michael Voss, or do we need to take a couple of steps back, go back to the draft and then reassess in 2 to 3 years' time, particularly after you lose Silvani and de Koning? I don't think they're going to get any better. So is Sam Walsh the one that you can go, okay, let's get a top 10 pick for him? I don't think that's going to happen, by the way, but if I was them, that's what I would do. They're going to have to come up with something pretty innovative to make sure that in 2 or 3 years' time they can compete.
We saw Ben King start tonight with 7 goals. But what about his twin brother, Max Marabin? Is he the missing piece?
He's forgotten, isn't he?
Yeah.
We don't speak about him at all. So, it's a bit like Logan McDonald, but he's better. So, I think their finals chances hinge on this guy. I really like what they've done in the off-season. Like, I wouldn't pay $1.8 million for a ruckman, but I don't mind Ryan coming in. Clearly keeping Nasai was really important, and it seems to be they're going to be really aggressive to raid other clubs. So I think they're going to be active, but what they've got in the injury list, Max King, I think will dictate. If he can play 20 games, I think they're a really good shot of playing finals next year.
It's going to be a new era at Port Adelaide with Josh Carr taking over the coaching reins from Ken Hinkley. How much can we expect from Port Adelaide next year?
Well, you got to expect a lot, I think, because they moved on a coach that had them in the prelim final and they're all in on this list. They've traded away what would have been around about pick 6 in the draft to get Lukosius in. So a lot of it will rely around fitness and how much they can get from Todd Marshall and Lukosius and Horne-Francis and the other players that have missed a fair bit of footy this year, Bergman. So critical in that space, but I think the absolute expectation is Port Adelaide fans would be seeing them playing finals, and anything else would be disappointing considering how much they have invested and given up to put this list into place.
So Port has its next coach. Melbourne does not yet, but we believe they need to have a massive trade period, Kane. Which names should be bandied about?
Yeah, well, I think clearly Clayton Oliver, if you can move on him, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would have done that last off-season. Whether there's a home for him, someone willing to pay that money, I'm not sure, and I'm doubtful of that. Fritsch is the other one that I think probably needs a new destination. Stephen May, I think, has really let his club down with his on-field performance first and foremost, but also he's been undisciplined and a distraction for a while now. So they're the 3 that I would be looking to do something
Not Petrarca?
with. No, I don't think so. I think that ship has sailed, and I think 4 years to go on that contract. He's not even 30 years of age yet. He's probably in their top 3 best players. So I would keep him around. I think he's a really good citizen off the field as well, and trains and works hard. It's a pretty good example for the players. So I'd keep him, but the other 3 I'd be pretty aggressive with.
It was a tough slog for the Bombers campaign. It finished tonight, but I think some of the kids are all right. If you look at the last 2 draft tools, the likes of Caddy, Roberts, Kako, Clark, and they've got a nice hand at this year's draft, Kane.
Yeah, I like what they've done. I like the way that they've rebuilt. There's their hand this year. It's really rock solid. That gives you the opportunity to really, if you get this right, and that's what I want to make the point here, you got to get this right. You got salary cap room, but get your picks right. And you're right with the ones that they've had previously. They've missed on a few of the years prior to that. But if you can get this done, last year you absolutely got it right. Caddy's going to be something phenomenal. Kako clearly is going to be one of the better small forwards in the league. And then you add 4 and 5 and maybe some others in the second round. They're in good shape. And then you do what Hawthorn has done in the next 2 to 3 years, and you're trying to track the elite talent from other clubs.
All season, on this show at least, Kate, I feel like it was Groundhog Day when it came to North Melbourne and conceding massive scores. They've got to tighten that up in 2026, don't they?
Only 2 teams averaged 100 points or more against this year, and they were one of them. West Coast were the other. So that's all North Melbourne need to be judged on next year. They'll be fine offensively. They've got the weapons. They've got the young talent coming through. We've seen that. We saw that in round 24 against Adelaide. But can Alistair Clarkson devise a defensive game plan that doesn't allow them to continually leak scores and concede 100 plus? That's what I'll be judging him on. And if he can't get that right, then he's not the right man for the job, and we know that.
Now, you had Richmond at lukewarm, but part of that will be getting Sam Lawler, their number 1 pick, right. And that hamstring concern, it was something we spoke about on the show this year.
Yeah, he's a star. I mean, he just does everything right. There's the injury that we spoke about. I thought they rushed him back too quickly and took too big of a risk in a game that they were never going to win. But that's done now. So now it's about getting him absolutely right, making sure there's a program in place, and whether he's got his own individual programs and all that, I'm sure they'll be working their way through that, because he has the ability to be the game's best player. That's how good he can be. He can go forward, takes a contested mark. He's beautifully clean with his hands. He's a good kick. He's a good finisher. So I can't wait to watch him hopefully play a full season next year. And Richmond have done everything right. They petered out towards the end of the year, but that was through fatigue from their young players. But they'd be thrilled, I reckon, with the year that they've had.
It was a tough campaign for West Coast, Andrew McQualter's side, only getting the 1 win this year. And you've got a pretty firm message for them, Kane. Just don't stuff it up when it comes to this year's draft.
Don't stuff it up. It's a great opportunity. So chuck in pick 2 for Oscar Allen, perfect. That like Essendon is a hand. It's better to turn your club around. So this is what Richmond did last year. They've got the ability to do that this year, and they kept Harley Reid. So you got Harley Reid, you got pick 1, you got pick 2, you got some good picks after that. Elijah Hewitt and some players, some key position players forward of the ball that look good. So I think there's starting to be, okay, we can actually see a way out of the hell that we've been in for the last 5 years.
Kane, 7 games to go. Finals are on our doorstep. This has been First Up with Kane Cornes. Thanks to Sportsbet.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.